I am the host, Richard Ravenbrook, a man, a life coach, and a spiritual mentor who has endeavored to find real spiritual truth and self-enlightenment. With experiences in various ministry types, pagan traditions, and even magical paths. With a love for Mother Earth and a balance of life, I work to channel spirit and to help educate and mentor those striving to deconstruct from mainstream religion and to empower them to find the divinity within themselves and to the truth around them. The messages are focused on everyday life, creating an environment of real coexistence, a world of mutual respect, love, and dignity. The pagan preacher is all things, the preacher and the pagan, speaking from the wisdom of spirit. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Pagan Preacher Podcast. Welcome to the Ravensbrook. Welcome to this spiritual message. Pondering this message and what it was the Spirit wanted to deliver. You know, it's difficult sometimes in the flesh because Spirit isn't always easy to understand with our flawed temples, our flesh, our bodies, trying to understand what it is that Spirit wants to convey. Because if anybody understands Spirit, sometimes it's in images, sometimes it's in words, not audible words most of the time, but it's very difficult to understand if you've never had it. Most of the time, it's like a revelation or an epiphany of something that you are needing or wanting wisdom on. And it could be something that would be an entire conversation between two human beings, but Spirit can deliver that message instantaneously. And sometimes it's hard to put that message into physical words, but I'm going to try today because I feel even stronger as these podcasts go. You know, and we're talking about magic and miracles. We're talking about having the courage to be ourselves, to be who it is that we are within, not what people tell us to be, but the courage to be what it is that we want to be, that we feel led to be. We understand intent and the power of manifestation. But you know, happiness and love in this world seem to be a constant battle. Why is it that we battle these things daily? Is it because we have so many distractions in this world? That we live in a world that is so materialistic, that we have grown up in a society that measures our value by what we have in material assets. We're measured by our job, our career. We're measured by how many certificates we have or how much money we make per year. But happiness and love come from contentment. The feeling of completion and comfort come from the satisfaction of self and knowing that we are living the way we choose to live. But how many of us are actually doing that? Very, very few. Most of us are slaves to debt. We work day in and day out just for the basic necessities of life. Some of us are focused on our career or what it is that the reason why we wake up in the morning. But is that also the reason why most of the world lacks happiness, lacks the ability to love, to hold on to love, to keep love? Because it wasn't meant for us to live the way that we are. It's not meant for us to be nothing but consumers. We now live in a world that you can't choose to just live off the land, grow your own food and hunt and fish for your own food, or whatever it is that you do. We can't just live on this earth and be who we are, human beings. We are supposed to find a career, find a job, work, pay bills, maybe have children, and then teach our children to do the same thing. Teach them that the important things in life, our career, putting money in the bank, things of that nature. But what are we really teaching our children? The future. Are we happy? Was the generation before us happy? How about the generation before them? We lost happiness when we lost our value in life. Our value as far as knowing that we make a difference in this world, that we have contributed into this world, if I can spit that out. We are children of a creator. No matter how you look at religion or theology, I think we all believe that somewhere out there, a greater force than us created the human race. We are children of that creator. And within us, we have the desire to create. We have the desire to manifest things. But what we lack is divine wisdom, divine understanding, that comfort and luxury isn't always what's best. The past, they created electrical grids, all kinds of different things to power our homes, and I'm sure people thought, back then it was going to be an amazing thing. We're going to have lights in our home, we're going to have all this wonderful, but what did it also do? Today's world, or at least in this country, if you have children and you don't have that electricity that you have to pay for, it's considered child neglect. Yet people for thousands of years didn't have this. What I'm saying is that we've put ourselves in situations of luxury that now have become mandatory, have become a burden, because now we have to work to pay for what we have that we didn't necessarily even ask for, but that we have to have. Because in today's society, we can't just go outside of our house or our apartment and go hunt for our food or grow our vegetables in the front yard. Because now city code says we can't do that. We have put ourselves in a situation of being consumers and being so tied into material assets and luxury that we have become slaves to that luxury. We want everything and we want it fast. But what we've lost is ourselves. we've lost the, growing up as a child and experiencing the world, experiencing life day after day, not being indoctrinated in schools, being taught what it is that they wish to teach, but actually experiencing life. We spend we spend 12 years in school, not including college or other schools after that. But our life is limited. What could we have done during that 12 years towards our lives, towards society, the things that we could have learned, that we should have learned, that we didn't learn, because we were simply being indoctrinated with knowledge that though some of it is important, don't get me wrong, a lot more of it simply filled our minds with useless knowledge of, I think you know what I'm talking about. Because we're not all made to be the same. But yet public schools were indoctrinated at the same. We're given the same information at the same time, in the same way. And we call people that may not necessarily understand it or get a grip on it real fast or don't get the grades, we consider them not so smart. When, like Einstein, Einstein failed many classes, failed out of school, but it had nothing to do with wisdom or intellect or knowledge. It had to do with the fact that it just wasn't for him. It just wasn't the right thing for his life. And it's not the right thing for everyone's life. We've lost living in life. We wonder why we're not happy. We wonder why we can't seem to hang on to love. Because we are like dust in a whirlwind. Things changing on a day-by-day basis. Our whole lives depended upon our jobs and society as a whole. Corporations. That's what we've become. But life, and I've spoken into this before, talking about wildlife and nature, forest and just nature in general, Mother Earth. We watch her more and more every day be destroyed. We watch living creatures becoming extinct from their world because we continue to grow in a way that is negative for this earth. Because somehow we can't respect the balance. We can't respect and understand that if we take more than we need, then we destroy. That we have to share this earth or we destroy it because we destroy the balance. There's a need for everything that was here and that is here. And each and every time something is lost on this earth, there is, whether we realize it or not, a repercussion. There is an action, there is a reaction for what we've done or what has happened because of what we have not done. The Pagan Preacher podcast is about learning true spirituality. It's about learning about ourselves and the divinity within ourselves. The Ravensbrook is the tradition, the magical tradition the spiritual tradition. It's the place where we bring our desires together as a whole. It's about learning to be the people that we want to be, the people that this earth needs us to be, the people that our Creator intended us to be. You know, we all have different versions of the Creator. We all have different versions, different religions, different theologies, different ideas. But no matter what, and I've said this repeatedly before, it's us that lives here. Why we are different, why we have different cultures, why we look different. We know we don't always know the answer to those things. But what I do know is that I don't need to know. All I have to know is that we're here together and that we can do things better together. This world, we war over land, we war over resources, we war over temporary things, trying to distract from what it is that makes us happy as a species. And I hope that I'm making this clear enough. And what exactly this podcast today is about, what this spiritual message is all about today. It's about happiness. It's about living as a creation of the Creator. About learning how to positively create, how to live in a created world as it was meant to be. You're going to say, well, we live better because of the luxuries we love. You know, don't get me wrong. I love my TV. I love watching movies. I love my cell phone. But then in my heart, I know that there's things that we do that do nothing but pollute Mother Earth and that hurt our future, our children's future, our grandchildren's future. And there's better ways to do what we're doing. There's better ways than corporate greed. There's better ways than money. That there's better ways for us to work in a common interest, working together for the better good of our world. And you're going to say, well, you're living in some kind of crazy utopia that can never exist. But I'm already telling you that it can exist. And most of you believe in a religion that tell you that someday it will exist. You're going to say, well, that's because God is going to do that for us. But do you not understand that's not going to happen until you understand that the kingdom of God lives within you, within me? That means until we rise up and be the people that the Creator created us to be, we will be in a never-ending cycle of life destruction, over and over and over again. There comes a time when we have to take a hold of the enlightenment, take a hold of the truth of what we know is fact, lay down our emotions, our wants, our desires, our petty luxuries that are, and it can go on and on and on. And where do we begin? Well, it begins with us just understanding that what I'm saying is not just a line of malarkey, but what I'm saying is fact. What I'm saying is truth, and it's something that we need to do. We need to focus on better energy sources. We need to stop fighting over resources. We need to stop telling our children that, their value depends on what job they have and what they do in their life. Because most of the time, when you meet somebody and you get to talking, what's the first thing they want to know? What do you do? What do you do for a living? They don't want to know who you are. They don't want to know the character of yourself. They don't want to know. All they want to know is where you work, what you do for a living, what you do to make money. But that's not you. Sometimes we get lucky. Sometimes we have careers and jobs that are an example of who we are. But a majority of the time, it just doesn't work that way. We work to pay bills. People go out now and they live to work. Now work to live. And we just can't find the reason why we can't find that happiness. But it's right in front of our faces. It's right in front of us to why we can't find that happiness, that contentment, that satisfactory love in our life. That complete feeling of living a life in abundance. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with career or power. It has to do with understanding spirit, understanding our spirit, and that our spirit must be fed just as much as your physical body. That spirit needs things just as much. But most of us don't feed spirit. We feed everything else. We're too busy in the flesh, running to take care of fleshly wants and needs and desires. And then within us, we feel in the afternoons or at night, we feel a sadness or a grief we feel it because that's spirit trying to talk to us. That's your spirit trying to say, what are you doing? You're wore out and you're not happy. What would make you happy? What is it in this life that makes you happy? Why can't you have that? And we always go back to, well, it's financial, or it's, as I said, that we put ourselves in this prison of corporate, where our streets are lined with businesses. We can't eat unless we go to the grocery store because there's no way to grow our own food, or you really can't hunt your own food all the time because even there we have rules of what we can hunt, when we can hunt, and how much we can hunt. There's so many factors that we have put ourselves into. But when we sit and we ponder these things, and Spirit says that sometimes the only way to fix things, the only way to redo things, is to destroy them first. And I heard this from Spirit. And I heard, not really an audible voice, but understanding that when this time comes, that things must come down in order for them to be brought back up. Happiness, contentment, and love, all these things that we lack in a degree that we want. And I know today I haven't really talked a whole lot about magic and miracles, but let me tell you that when you find within yourself what I'm talking about. When you begin to reconnect with nature, reconnect with life, and you begin to truly understand the balance of life, and what it is that I'm talking about, what it is that Spirit is trying to convey, your power when it comes to manifestation will grow 100%. These messages are important because learning how to be yourself and how to manifest and how to be a child of a creator, a God, that we have to change, that we have to find wisdom, that we have to lay down the flesh sometimes and feed spirit. And sometimes that is merely finding that quiet space, that quiet time, focusing on what it is that we feel, why we feel that way, and how we can make that better, not feel that way. What it is that the Spirit within us is trying to tell us. Because we all know we are more than physical vessels. We are spirits living in a physical experience. But we forget that. And we forget that the experience that we came here to have, we have imprisoned ourselves into something that was not meant. This world, the way it is, was not meant to be this way. Your life experience was supposed to be a pleasant one, but it's one that we have learned to work with nature and the world. For an example, the movie Avatar. A lot of people like the movie, some people don't. But I use it as an example. The movie showed how the people lived in Mother Nature, lived within the world without destroying the world. You remember the human that was there, the first, when the wild animals had to be killed because the man didn't know how to live with those creatures, because they were hunting, they were hunters. They had to be killed because he didn't understand. If you haven't seen the movie, you'll have to watch it. But it all boils down to the fact that they knew, they understood that there was a balance. They were a part of the world. They weren't rulers of the world. And that meant something to them. They understood life. They wanted to live life. They fed the spiritual things on a daily basis. Things like honor was important to them. Love, respect, appreciation of all things was important. Today's society, we've lost that. We have animals of all kinds just running loose, starving on the streets. We have our brothers and sisters starving on the streets. Animals going extinct on a daily basis. Just horrible things, cutting down. And you say that there's many out there that'll call you a tree hugger if you start talking about cutting forests down. But it has nothing to do with being a tree hugger. It has to do with the sheer logic that we can't live without trees. The creatures in this world can't live without a home. When we start tearing down their homes, they go looking for homes. And then we're upset because they come into our homes. But what do we expect? Sometimes people can be, and it's sad to say, but more of an infestation than anything else. But it's because we had lack wisdom. We lack understanding. And some of us just won't open the ear to listen before it's too late. That Mother Earth will heal herself. And it will be done in a way that, sadly, will probably cost many, 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 many lives. And it didn't have to be that way. But the important thing is that we learn. And then when these things happen, we understand why they happened, and that we can stop it from ever happening again. That we can live on this earth, and that we can be a part of it, and let the other creations be a part of it just as much. And we'll find that our happiness, our contentment, will be exactly where it needs to be, right where you want it to be. Because who we are spiritually will be complete. It's not about money. It's not about cars. It's not about the biggest house. It's not about the biggest TV or the fastest cell phone and computer. These things are nice, but in the wrong hands, they're weapons. And we've destroyed our world. But there's still time to turn it around. There is still time. But we've got to act now. Just think about what I've said. I know I've already gone about 30 minutes, and I try to keep it about 30 minutes. Let's just think about this. Be blessed, everybody. And blessed be. Thank you, everyone. This is Richard Ravenbrook. From my heart to yours, I hope you are blessed. Please be a blessing. Share these podcasts. Share my short videos. Tell the world the work that's being done. Help me open the minds of those so closed. Help me bring into the fold those seeking truth and enlightenment. Be blessed.